I now call this meeting to order. Will everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and Denise, will you call the roll?
Certainly. Good evening. Vice Chairman Embry,
Here.
Commissioner Bellantoni,
Present.
Commissioner Maloney,
Present.
Commissioner Gregory Carlson,
Here.
Commissioner Ledoux,
Here.
Commissioner Gill.
Here.
That's Councilmember Gill, sorry.
I'd like to go ahead and welcome our newest member, Commissioner Carlson. Welcome to the commission, and our two reappointed members, Commissioner Maloney and Commissioner Ledoux. Welcome back. And we'd like to say goodbye and thank you to Commissioner Dunderman, who had to leave us for personal reasons. Now we'll move on to the
Excuse me,
approval-
I'd like to add that Justin Grantham, our chairperson, is an excused absence this evening.
Okay. I now ask for approval of minutes from the August 18th, 2016 regular meeting.
Are we not doing election of chair?
It's on the next, it's the next item on my agenda here. No, okay. I now open the floor for nominations for chairman.
Break with tradition of the surprise
Can I?
and talk about this?
Sure, I was gonna ask if the chair could make a nomination, but we can.
And a chair, you know what, traditionally, this is done just shotgun, boom, right, Mark?
It has been in the past, yes.
Yes, and nobody knows there's no discussion, it's just a shotgun. So, can we discuss this, Terry, or is that inappropriate?
Well, I'm not so sure that it's inappropriate. We don't have our legal counsel, so what would you like to discuss?
Well, I approached somebody to be chair, but I was declined, and I just feel like, you know, Justin's not here and Austin's just left. Fellow commissioners feel that doing this evening, Commissioner Carlson's brand new, has never even been through a meeting. Should we maybe just, I don't know.
Perhaps you could make a
postpone-
motion to postpone until the
Would you
next
feel that-
meeting,
and-
especially too, well, when Mr. Havens will be here to help us through this process?
I will say I talked to Chairman Grantham today. He said he probably won't be here till after the new year. That's just what he had said to me today. I don't know if his schedule will work out differently, but just so you're informed, that's a comment he had mentioned.
Having some continuity challenges right now.
I would imagine, whether I'm the right person to be making this suggestion or not, but I don't believe that there would be a problem if you all agree to continue this meeting as Eric being the vice chair and running this meeting for this time and make a motion to postpone the vote until the next meeting.
Brian, how do you feel?
Well, I think what we're trying to do here is, I mean, people have had to do this before. All of the right people aren't here. It's not a full group. So make a motion to hold the election at a different meeting. I mean, I'm not sure if that's the right verbiage or not, but go ahead and make a motion to continue this to the next meeting when everybody's here.
Or Ledoux, how do you
I
feel?
would certainly second your motion of postponing it.
He can't make a motion.
I know, your motion of.
Oh, I didn't know I
If
did.
you were to-
I was just having
If you
the,
were to make such motion.
Is there anything in any bylaws or anything about a certain date that elections have to take place?
That could be, but I do not have the bylaws here, so I can't help in that regard. If,
I think the easiest way to do this is, we need legal counsel here. Legal counsel, our city attorney is excused, due to an injury, and that this needs to be postponed until legal counsel is here, till our city attorney.
So I would like to propose an emotion. That's like an emoticon. Please may I? Chairman, Vice Chairman, due to changing personnel on the commission and our lack of continuity right now, please may we consider postponing appointing a chair and a vice chair until our September meeting.
Okay, a motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
I will second.
Okay, motion and a second has been made.
Can I amend the motion that Eric serve as the chairman pro tem until we appoint a new chair and vice chair?
yes, you may. He would be doing that anyway.
Will you call the roll on the motion, Denise?
Sure. Commissioner Bellantoni,
Aye.
Commissioner Dunderman.
He's no longer.
Oh. Sorry, Mike marked out the wrong one. Commissioner Ledoux,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Embry,
Aye.
Commissioner Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Carlson,
Aye.
Motion passed. So now we will move on. I ask for approval of minutes from the August 18th, 2006 regular meeting.
Excuse me, that was the June 21st meeting?
Sorry, my sheet is wrong here. Today is August 18th, the June 21st, 2016 meeting. Are there any corrections? Hearing none, I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes.
Chairman, I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of this Canyon City Planning Commission held on June 21st, 2016.
And I'll second those minutes.
Okay, Denise, will you call roll?
Commissioner Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Bellantoni,
Aye.
Vice Chair Embry,
Aye.
Commissioner Carlson,
Aye.
Commissioner Ledoux,
Aye.
All right, the motion is approved. Moving on. I now open the public hearing on the adoption of amendments to Title 17 zoning regulations of the City of Canyon City, more particularly to consider various minor revisions to correct errors and provide clarifications. The provisions of the City Municipal Code, and in particular Title 17 thereof, the subdivision regulations, and the comprehensive plan of the City of Canyon City are incorporated into the record of the hearing as if set forth verbatim. Can we get the staff report, please?
Yes, sir, Commissioner Embry, and members of the commission. This is basically to revise various sections of the zoning regulations. They're basically what we would call housekeeping items. Public notice was published at least 15 days prior to this public hearing as required. These corrections are to correct, clarify, and basically obtain consistency in the regulations. Because there are several of these, what I would like to do is just open this up to any questions that you might have about them. I think they're self-explanatory. I did not want to get into all of the details if I don't really necessarily have to, given the matter at hand. There has been no response to public notice. If you decide to take action on these, this will be considered by the council in September. You have findings of fact and an advisory report for the zoning ordinance amendment. And I did include one appendix from the building code for swimming pools, just to give you some additional information so that you know how that's covered, since we're suggesting that that information come out of the zoning regulations. I'll try to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions of the commission? Commissioner Bellantoni?
Terry, 1716070. Page 3. The part about requiring applicants to provide the adjacent property information. And this is this for just the planned unit development because, or is this conditional use permit? Because this is, I understand, but conditional use permits, zone changes, everybody else does this. They give you that chart?
Actually, these in the zoning regulations, and I knew you were going to ask this question. Yes, I did, because when I was doing this, I realized that on an application that you were party to, we did this incorrectly. So, the only applications in the zoning regulations that require an applicant to provide the actual adjacent property owner information is the special review use and the planned unit development, not zone change.
You know how long it took me?
Yes, you told me at the time. I apologize for that. Our application was incorrect.
Okay.
So we have since corrected that. There are other applications, however, in the subdivision process, which we are not going through right now. That's a completely different set of regulations that also require applicants to provide adjacent property information. In the zoning code, however, these are the only two application types that require an applicant to actually provide that information.
And I'm just looking for consistency. That's the
Exactly.
only reason I asked the question, because I happen to agree with this. You're going to review it anyway.
Yes.
Yes.
So that this does obtain that consistency. It puts the burden on the staff, and we would be verifying that information anyway.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Commissioner Carlson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had one question, and as a new member to the commission, I have to say I really appreciate the time that was put into the staff comments for each change. I felt that they helped explain it, the changes that were being made. But my one question was on the reference to swimming pools and the new regulations for that, which are listed on page 2. It deletes a bunch of stuff about the gates and the doors, and it points people towards the building code that has been adopted by the city. And my question is just a point of information, which is, because we've adopted this outside building code to describe the regulations to keeping swimming pools safe, does this commission have the power, if it so chooses, to amend certain aspects of it? Would we have that power, or does that... Or do we just do we just approve the building code wholesale? Or do we have the power to make amendments if we needed to certain parts of it?
That is a very good question. My understanding is that we have adopted the building code in its entirety. There may be portions of the code that can be changed from the city perspective. And I would doubt seriously that we would change that necessarily. I'm giving you not a very good answer. So I truthfully, I don't know. The building department would really, the building official would be the person to tell you that specifically.
Uh,
Are there any other questions? Commissioner Ledoux?
Thank you. In reference to the backyard chickens, I guess my question is, did the R1A zone exist at the time the chicken definition was developed?
Yes?
And was it specifically not included?
Yes. It was
Yes.
specifically not included because of the small size of the lots.
Are there any other questions? Are there any additional comments or questions prior to the closing of the public hearing? Seeing none, I now close this public hearing. Is there any further discussion of the commission?
Kind of, yes, please.
Okay.
To carry on Commissioner Carlson's concern about the swimming pools and the fact that it is now carried over to the building department, Appendix G. I guess that's just a touch unsettling that then the only place that I see in this change where it refers to Appendix G is in staff comments. Or am I missing something? Oh, it says, current edition of the city-adopted building code.
Exactly. So
Okay, so people.
they would be directed to the code,
City-adopted building code.
right, and then they would be provided with Appendix G. And they would have to construct their fence and their latches accordingly, and those would be inspected.
Does that satisfy your question?
Could we I'm concerned of the speed readers. Glance over it, oh, okay. Doesn't, I mean, could we put Appendix G up here? Could we, to get them directly to it so that they understand that we really mean this and what's in there? And we're not saying nothing, there aren't any, or that we've reduced our safety requirements, but we specifically want you to go to Appendix G? Or do you think that?
We can
in
do
the-
that. I'm not so sure that they would know, well, sure, we can certainly add that.
Discuss this, but do you hear where I'm coming from? Okay. I just want someone to stop and know that it's specific, we have specific page numbers and specific sections for you to go to for this. It's not just a glance over.
Commissioner Carlson?
When we've pointed to the building code in the past, is it common to give a page number or a certain section?
Generally, it does not. Because what will happen is the building official will direct them to Appendix G and tell them how they're supposed to construct their fence and their gate latches. He will provide that for them. It isn't, because one of the things in referring to other codes is that one wants to, just like we did with childcare centers in here, is to be as generic as we possibly can, because Appendix G in the next International Building Code may not be Appendix G. It could be something else. So that's why we try to be as generic as possible.
Are there any additional comments or questions? Seeing none, I now call for a motion and a second on the request based upon the findings.
Do we already have a motion?
Oh,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move to approve the Canyon City Planning Commission, upon conducting a public hearing on the above captioned zoning ordinance amendment, and after considering the testimony presented by city staff and any other interested parties, finds as follows. Notice of public hearing was properly given as required by law. Based upon the above findings of fact.
Hang on just a second. What you just read, and you would need to include number 2, would constitute your first motion.
Okay,
And you will vote on that.
okay.
If you wish to,
In addition, the proposed amendment is necessary and appropriate.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Denise, will you please call roll?
Certainly. Commissioner Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Ledoux,
Aye.
Vice Chair Embry,
Aye.
Commissioner Bellantoni,
aye.
Commissioner Carlson.
Aye.
Can I hear a motion and a second on the approval or disapproval of?
Chairman Emery, I will propose a motion that, based upon the findings of fact, that the Canyon City Planning Commission hereby makes the following recommendation to the council of the city of Canyon City to approve the amendments to the zoning ordinance as presented.
I second that motion.
Motion and a second. Denise, will you please call roll?
Commissioner Bellantoni,
Aye.
Commissioner Carlson,
Aye.
Vice Chair Embry,
Aye.
Commissioner Maloney,
Aye.
Commissioner Ledoux.
Motion carries. On to the next order of business, to consider the adoption of amendments to Chapter 17 zoning regulations of the City of Canyon City, more particularly to revise Section 17.20.085, food carts and kiosks, and Section 17.08 definitions. I now open the public hearing. Can we please get the staff report?
The city administrator, Tony O'Rourke, has requested that this application be tabled until our next meeting. There are some legal questions that have not been answered with respect to the revisions that staff has made, and he would like to have those clarified before this is brought before you for discussion.
Do I have any questions from the commission? Okay. Do I hear a motion?
For a motion to table.
Mr. Chair, I move that we postpone this motion to the next meeting of the Public Commission, Planning Commission, I mean.
Motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second has been made. Will you call roll, please, Denise?
Commissioner Carlson,
Aye.
Commissioner Maloney,
Aye.
Vice Chair Embry,
Aye.
Commissioner Bellantoni,
Aye.
Commissioner Ledoux.
Motion carries. Are there anything in other business? Hearing none, I adjourn the meeting.